Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
Culture evolves at the speed of light, just like your financial needs. When it comes to your money, Credit Karma keeps you in the know and ahead of the game. You can count on Credit Karma to keep up with your financial needs as they evolve. We'll help you monitor your progress and give personalized recommendations so you can make strides towards your goals and find your way to money. Make sure you're on the right track, no matter where you are on your financial journey. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on.
This episode brought to you by the following patron. Oh my God, she's back again. Leaf Girl, Min, Jason, Madeline, Alyssa, Vixen, Holly, Laura, Jeremy with the laser eyes, Allie, Lauren, Libby, Kristen, Tia, and Jonathan. And all the patrons want you to know you're loved, you're listened to, and you're a valuable member of this awesome horror virgin community. And if you want to hang out with us, do so in the Facebook group where we'll be singing various Patreon names daily.
Recording locally. This one's for you, Natalie. Oh, I just wanted to get that on mic.
It's unfair, the way Smile targets me like this.
Dude, yes.
Not only do I feel seen by Smile 2 Paige, I feel attacked.
Same. Same. Fuck you, Smile 2. Should I reset the brother counter now or wait?
Absolutely, we're going to have to.
Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin. I'm Paige.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd, which means I don't like scary movies, but you guys make me watch them. And this week, Paige made us watch Smile 2. So, Paige, why?
I had so much faith. I thought for sure there's no way that they're going to make a movie again that is 2 acts of actually pretty good movie.
Oh, Paige.
And then just throw it all the fuck away in Act 3 like they did in the first one.
Paige, I think it's going to be like a thing with the Smile franchise.
I hate it so much.
And it's that they just like want to prove that addicts will end up killing themselves.
God damn it.
Can I get a redemption story, Smile 2, please?
They have every chance in both the first one and this one to create a narrative in which someone triumphs over their addiction and have it still be just as fucking scary as the last one. And then they just throw it away. They don't even do it in a good plot way. The third act of this movie is hot, flaming trash. And like, what the fuck, man? The first 2 acts are pretty damn good. To the point where I texted a friend that I was going to try and get on this episode and it just didn't work scheduling-wise. And he had asked me, he's like, tell me how it is. By Act 2, I was like, hey, man, I think you might actually really like this one because he had beef with the first one, much like we did. And then I had to text him 30 minutes later and be like, just kidding.
Yeah.
Don't, man. What the fuck?
Paige, I'm like torn. I am very conflicted. This movie and the first one was the same. Understands addiction in a way that is like, it's like what you'll hear at AA meetings or NA meetings or like any sort of recovery meeting.
Yeah.
Like it is like that inside recovery, that inside addiction. Like it knows the people that are struggling with that.
Not just addiction, just mental health in general.
Yes. And also then shows us 2 stories back to back of how those people kill themselves and does it And like in the position of it's a demon that haunts them, and I get it, and I kind of love it. Like there's so much I love about it. I just want someone to fucking beat it. And not even like beat it forever. Like you're never going to get rid of this because this demon, quote unquote, is like mental health and addiction in the way that like plays into each other until like someone spirals out.
I could settle with someone learning to live with it. Like not even beating it, but just having it be in the background, but they are asserting that they're in control. Here's the other part. Motherfucker. The last one, first of all, the rules of this world are ill-defined and frustrating, but we lived with it because like the last movie and this movie, 2 acts of them, both are good.
Yeah, they're so good.
And you're like, man, I can't wait to fucking figure this shit out.
I mean, truly, Paige, I like the whole movie. It is just a huge downer at the end because like it wins. The demon wins. I don't even like to say that like Lewis and her killed themselves because they truly don't. Like the demon is the one that takes over and kills them, or the possession, or whatever you call it, right?
Sure.
Which I love as a metaphor because like, yeah, it's their addiction and their mental health issues that like led to that. I get it. And I love it kind of. But I just want someone to like go to fucking treatment, bro, and like learn learn a system that works for you. And
the screenwriter within me fucking refuses to admit that either of those third acts are great.
It's because it has 30 endings. I know why.
Not just that. Not just that it has 30 endings. It's that it goes from 1 to 6, motherfucking 6 on the fucking story circle, and then it's like, fuck 7 and 8. We're back to 3. Fuck y'all! Fuck y'all! I swear to God, I did not need this today. I'm sorry I'm screaming so much. I've drank a lot of caffeine and I've had a headache for 2 days. But
is it because you've been screaming for 2 days, Paige?
It's definitely going to be because I'm screaming today.
Yeah.
Both these movies do such a good job of like setting up a story, making you invest in the characters, making you follow along with it, invest in the emotional core, and then literally at the third act, it's like twisty-turny and you're like, oh shit. And then they just reveal, fuck you. None of it mattered. None of the story we laid grounds for mattered. None of this matters because fuck it. We're just going to kill someone for shock value. I hate it so much. And I hate it worse in this movie because the first movie was more about clinical depression.
Yes.
Right? So someone who has been diagnosed with clinical depression. That is not something I have experienced. I can empathize and enjoy it as a movie. Again, and we talked about this when we did that movie. First 2 acts, great.
Yeah.
Here for it. Even here for more of the third act of that one, because they really draw out the fuck you on that one until the very end. This movie, which is, first of all, a much more emotionally grounded, thoughtful meditation on both trauma and also people who cannot give themselves a break because they work themselves to death for other people's expectations. And do you know who that speaks to? Fucking me. So fuck this third act because she literally is getting to a point of like, I understand that I have to let everything go. I'm going to have to. That is what it is. But at least I have enough fight in me to fucking fuck this thing up.
Yeah.
Like that I will sacrifice myself to make sure no one else gets hurt. And then the movie is just like, joke's on you. And I know the same shit happened in the first movie.
Yep,
but now it's fucking everybody. It's a whole arena of people, which by the way, makes no fucking sense. Even if you think about like, okay, where was she? And so she's not there. So she's an unreliable narrator. Where's everyone else? And then you realize 90% of the third act of this movie is a hallucination. They never tell you. There's no clues until the very fucking end. And then it's just like, it's a hallucination. No, go back to your story circles. Go back and finish the emotional journey. I swear to God. Sorry. Paige has been working on scripts for too long and has to scream.
Yeah, and it's clear that it like clouds your judgment, whereas art is concerned.
No.
But I'll say that I also had problems with the third act. It's just like the double end and then another end. You know, it's like...
Oh, that, yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
That bothered me too a little bit, but I'll say I love the way it ends. As far as like, it ends on stage because the reveal of that is like, oh, she's going to go to a Pizza Hut and beat it. Okay, weird, but like they did a similar thing in Stranger Things and I loved it. So cool. And then when it like reveals that it's not that, and then you hear like the stage lights warming up and it cut to black.
Oh, and then I knew it was going to be it. I was like, motherfucker.
I literally was like, oh shit, this is gonna get crazy because not Gaga is about to kill herself on stage in front of about 1 million 8-year-olds or whatever. And that's what happens. But it's like that reveal was like, oh shit. So like, I'm gonna forgive it, you know?
I'm not gonna forgive it, but I did go, motherfucker. Like, because I understood that, like, I understand that whoever was writing this, when they started this movie and were like, we're going to make it a pop star, that's the ending they were going for. I know.
It's got to be.
I know they thought about it the whole time.
Yeah.
It's got to be. That's the whole reason.
You don't make this character a pop star unless you're going to do this.
But here's what I thought, Todd, for like 2 whole acts of this movie.
Tell me what you thought.
I was full convinced that this was a different movie, that someone had just written about a meditation on fame and working yourself too hard and created a horror movie out of it. And I was fucking loving it. And I was like, somebody must have come in here and just Control-F'd Smile into this really good movie.
Into this ghostly Gaga script.
But it's like Gaga, it's Billie Eilish, it's Demi Lovato, it's all of it. And I was like, oh my God, yes. And then we get to the end and I'm like, fucking fuck. They wanted this the whole time. I knew it. I knew it in my bones.
I know.
And
it is one of those reveals that's not like super surprising when you think back on it.
Sure.
But in the moment, you're like, oh shit. Because almost all of the third act is a like fantasy, more or less, that the demon or the possession is playing out.
It's a Jacob's Ladder scenario. Yes.
It is the snow globe of the movie. Yes. But because of that, it makes that reveal so much crazier because you're thinking so small. They're just like in an abandoned Pizza Hut that for no reason has power. And like,
not only does it have power, it's got a freezer the size of a hospital room. And I was like, what?
Paige, famously, Pizza Hut's pizza is made in a freezer. Like they wouldn't have a freezer they just wouldn't need it that big.
Yeah, it'd be the size of a small closet, maybe.
Yeah. I guarantee it's like a walk-in closet size. Sure.
Yeah.
It is not a small apartment in New York size.
No.
You know?
Oh my God.
So like when you think back on it, you're like, of course it was fake. But in the moment you're thinking so small. And then when you hear it fades to black and you hear the like lights warming up, you're like, oh shit. I loved it.
And here's the thing. The second I realized that was going to happen and I was like, motherfucker, was this entire third act a snow globe? I'm going to fucking murder somebody. Like that's how angry I was. But at the same time, if you're looking at this purely from the focal point of let's heighten from the first one, like the sequel has to get bigger, then yeah, you've infected an entire room of people. Now here's where I will forgive it. If for Smile 3, it's basically Smile zombies. And they have taken over the world and it's post-apocalyptic.
Smomsies?
Then I'll forgive you, bitch, because this one starts 6 days after the last one. So you telling me 6 days after this one, it's a fucking epidemic? Let's go, bitch. Okay.
You're getting the president on the phone like,
yes,
we got to figure out how to kill the Smile demon.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Because that's how big it would be. Like if all those little girls went Smile crazy, that would be nuts. Although it is positioned that like, one of those girls will go crazy, or at least someone in the audience will.
I think it's everybody, because it's always a witness, and the witness goes nuts.
It's always a witness, but it's only one, right? Because the chain is a chain of one, right?
Yeah, but in the past, it's always been because there was only one person there.
Yeah, I guess. I honestly don't know, but that's terrifying.
It's because it doesn't explain the rules.
It doesn't.
Well, that is something Smile doesn't do great.
I don't super remember the first one. Like, I remember, like, the high-level, like, story beats, but I don't remember, like, the lore as much. So, like, maybe it's very well established that all of those people are going to be turned into Smile monsters, but I kind of, like, it is an escalation. Like, it is a nuts escalation from the first one.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
And not to, like, change the subject a little bit, but, like, that cold open, and I'm not just saying this because it was in the snow. It is a great cold open.
Great cold open.
It hooked you in and you were like, Oh my God, what is happening? Where did Lewis come from?
I shit you not. Up until the end of the second act, I was like, hey, the pacing on this is a little slow, and I think it's because of all the songs, but I wouldn't cut them because I kind of love it.
Right?
And I was like, here for this movie, and I was like, not as many jump scares as I thought, but like, okay, like I'm kind of here for this more like.
Not as many as you thought, Paige. This movie scared the shit out of me.
Do you remember the first one? The first one was like every 10 seconds.
I know.
This one, not as much, but it's much more of like a slow creeping dread, which is like, yes, thank you. Super into it. I was super into her as a character. I was super invested in all of it.
Me too, man. Fuck.
And then they just throw it away. This movie could be as scary, if not scarier, and still have an ending that doesn't just basically say that everyone with mental illness or addiction will kill themselves. I hate that about these movies. It's unnecessary. And it feels like you didn't finish your homework. Like you created a good arc for somebody. At least let them die fighting it, because they don't even get to die fighting it. In both cases.
I feel like if you listen to not exactly what you're talking about, Paige, but like the words you're using and the like tone, it's very similar to a conversation I had about my friend David with another friend of mine after he died. And I wonder if that is all like thought out by the filmmaker, because
I mean, maybe
a lot of this is so well thought out.
That's what kills me. It's 2 acts of greatness and 1 act of throwaway.
I know, but it's left us arguing about the movie in ways that I argued about my friend's life that was cut short by his addiction. And that is insane to me. So anyway, like I just like that's crazy.
Well, and here's the thing. I absolutely have people in my life with addiction.
Yeah.
It happens. It sucks.
It does.
I hate that a movie seems to be like, well, yeah, of course that would happen.
I know.
No, no, man.
Yeah.
Like, the goal is for that not to happen.
And that's why I was like, in my mind, like, okay, it's only going to be one of the people in the audience. Because I'll say, like, a lot of people drink. A lot of people do drugs. Like, and they don't take it to the level that it does this to them, right?
Right.
So, like, it's not a one-to-one. If you witness trauma, you're going to end up this way. Or you experience trauma, you're going to end up this way. So that's why I was like, okay, it's just one of these people. And hopefully that's what it is. Although I'll say, you're not wrong. For a Smile 3, if it was like...
if it was a whole room of people?
I don't know. Conservatively, 5,000 people legit going crazy for 6 days and then killing themselves very publicly. Crazy.
Here's how I would do it if I was doing it. There's a group of girls that all went to the concert together, because she is set up as almost like, not a Taylor Swift, but like...
No, it's a Gaga. She's like a Lady Gaga.
She's like kind of like a Gaga. Yeah. More of like a Gaga styling necessarily. So like a group of girlfriends that all went to go see together, teenage girls.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's who they haven't really tackled yet, right? Because like the first one was that grown-up lady and then the cop. This one, she's a grown-up pop star. But like, I feel like if you really... And again, this is me assuming that they want to actually say something useful about suicide. It's if you did a group of teenage girls and talked about the way that suicide clusters in communities, especially teens, oh boy, would that be a way to do it.
Yeah.
But then the third act's just gonna, like, they walk outside and everybody's doing it. And it's like, if your friends all jumped off a bridge, you know, like.
I mean, though you say that, but like that is one of the reasons it clusters like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think Smile and then this movie as well, like really nails so much. And I'm just so let down by the endings because the demon wins
every time. And
like, I get that that's the story they're telling, and that's fine because so much of the movie is so stellar. It's just such a down note to end on back to back.
Here's the thing. And this is going to sound terrible, I fully expected, I was like, they're not going to do that same thing twice. That'd be real bad. And then so my thinking was that it was going to work. He was going to like shock her down. She was going to come back. And then he was going to have it.
Oof. Like he was going to frighteners her, which is a reference I don't even really get. And then instead of it working and killing the demon, flatliners. It's flatliners. That's what it is. That's how little I got it. I got it wrong and then remembered it right. How crazy is that?
Yeah, that he was going to flatliners her, and that in doing so, when he shocked her back, it was
going to transfer to him.
He was going to get it. And here's the thing. I'd have been okay with that ending.
Same.
You know?
I mean, I don't know. Morris, does he employ like probably 100 people? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Although it is kind of sad. Like I actually do like a character like Morris who's like hunting down the demon through this type of thing. Like I love that character. And then for it to be revealed that, it's not that.
No.
Although, do you think Morris ever existed?
Oh, that's a good question.
I really like Morris reaching out and offering the opportunity for help almost immediately and her denying that call.
Sure.
And just saying, no, I don't need your help. Person that I would assume is the cops trying to bust me for murdering Lewis. I understood why she didn't respond. But
yeah, 100%.
I also think that's like part of the metaphor of it all, because you're not going to answer your first call to like, hey man, maybe you should slow down a bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You're going to blow right past that like red flag.
Yep.
So like, I really wanted him to actually exist and be a real character. So in my mind, he is for the first meeting and then not at all after that.
That is entirely, I think that's what the movie would say. But that's also part of what frustrates me so much about that third act. Is now, again, granted, if we had found out that he was not anywhere the entire time, like he never existed, that makes more sense story-wise.
Right.
But like that's what's so frustrating about this third act for me, is that it sets up all these things, him included, and then shows you a story and then is like, nah. And it reminds me of, and I know you haven't seen it yet, but like when we get to it, the last Twilight movie does a similar fucking bait and switch that I think is equally stupid. And that's how I feel about it. But it's like, it follows the natural progression of the story. It follows the causality of the story. And then it's just like, no, this thing that makes no sense is actually what happened.
I don't know. I still think it kind of makes sense at the end, because the blackout moments where we're seeing the hallucinations, but she's not actually living those hallucinations.
We have no idea what she did for 2 days, basically.
Right.
She was not present. We were not present.
Right, because she was actively using, in my mind. So I think it still works, because we are not seeing what is actually happening in reality. We are living out the fantasy that she is spiraling with in her head that leads her to do what she does on stage, which I'll say is the demon. It is not her taking her life.
So I guess my question at that point is, at what point do you think she starts actively using? We see her take those pills in the bathroom, but those are supposedly Tylenol.
I don't think she ever does.
Okay.
Well, I think... So, okay, I don't think she ever uses again, or that we see on screen at least.
Right.
Or it's even really like posited that we're just not seeing her drink or take Vicodin or whatever.
Right.
I think it's the demon. I think the demon or the possession or whatever just mimics those like symptoms.
Right.
It just brings that out of them, and then they start to spiral on their most negative as it feeds on that, and then eventually it kills them. I don't think at all she relapsed in the movie. I think it just sort of makes her experience that.
Sure. I think my issue then at that point is the way that the movie tells and demonstrates that. Because I feel like if it wants that to be the metaphor, it fumbles it hard. Because it doesn't give us clear through lines. It doesn't give us a clear understanding of what was actually happening. We're just with her as an unreliable narrator till we're not. And like, I don't think that is set up well to have a clear, satisfying ending given the thoughtfulness of the first two acts, which I do think are great. I will go on record. The first two acts of this movie, legitimately good.
Yeah.
From all standpoints.
Yeah.
Shot well, written well, acted well, all of it well. That's why this don't fit.
Man, I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think from a like metaphor standpoint for addiction and losing someone that has been through that and like the questions it leaves you with, I sort of got it. And I think I understood what they were going for a little bit more. But I agree from like a story writing standpoint, like the first two acts are no notes. They're stellar. And the third one has a few like Return of the King vibes at the end. But that's all in service of that crazy great reveal at the end.
Can I tell you what might have fixed it for me a little bit?
Sure.
A little bit. After what happens, right?
Yeah.
She kills herself in front of a bunch of people. A news story of her erratic behavior over the last week, where we're seeing what other people saw, and it's the other half.
And also, we could just cut to her in like a rehab center, and this was also a fantasy, which is a problem with movies that have this type of element, with the unreliable narrator of it all. Like, you could always just shake the snow globe again, and it was all a fantasy. So
it was all a fantasy.
You never really know. But I do know, at one point in this movie, when she's like losing her mind, Paige, she's like going crazy. She can't get any drugs. And so she grabs her toothbrush and goes to the closet with her toothbrush. And that's where she sees all the dancers. What was she going to do in that closet with that toothbrush, Paige?
Oh, I mean, here's the thing. I think it's wild to think that someone that famous wouldn't just have a vibrator.
I'm not the one who grabbed the toothbrush. I assumed they would.
I would assume they would too. As I have been dealing with like some massive headaches and stuff this week.
You've been grabbing the toothbrush, Paige? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know if you remember when I had that like horrible ear infection and everything, that the only thing that gave me any relief was using a vibrator on my face to pop the pressure. And I've been at it again because my head be hurting. So yeah, no shame, girl.
Paige, tell me more about the time you used a dildo medicinally.
Oh yeah, for sure. So there is something, I don't know what it is. It has been especially bad since the fires, but it was a little bad before that too, where my sinuses have just been bad and they'll build up pressure. And I don't know if you can tell right now, it squeezed one of my eyes so bad that my eye looks all red and gross. But like, it was one of those things where I couldn't hear for like 2 weeks. And part of it was the sinus pressure of just like pressing and squeezing on my inner ear and shit. And one of the only things that made me feel better was just vibrating some of the air bubbles and pressure away. And the only thing I had that was like
powerful enough.
Yeah. Is that.
Was your diesel powered rabbit.
It's not even that strong of one, but it was just the only thing that could fit on my face. Yeah, there you go. No shame. I'm not ashamed of it. And you know what, girl?
You shouldn't be. I love that you're sharing it. It's amazing.
Pro tip, if you have a sinus infection, hit your face with a vibrator. It helps a bit.
Yeah, use that shit medicinally.
Yeah.
I thought it was very funny. I was like, damn, okay, she's more than one kind of addict. Also, I can't believe in this day and age, they let Lewis do full Red Skull face. I hated that. That was gross.
When we get to it, I'll talk about it, because the first hit, the makeup is not great. And then the subsequent ones, they clearly layered over with some after effects.
Yeah.
But the first one, they didn't blend the like additional latex pieces in with his skin enough. So they're like significantly different colored than the rest of his face. It looks real Spirit Halloween. Yeah.
The subsequent hits look real gross, though.
The subsequent hits looking good.
Yeah.
Looking good, bro.
But you know Sky is famous because she's repped by CAA, Paige.
That is a big deal.
I know.
And Interscope Records. Here's my question to you. She don't have no personal assistant?
No. She fired Joshua for trashing her dressing room.
Joshua was her mom's personal assistant.
That is true, yeah.
That's the most unbelievable part of this movie for me, is that they left a famous person alone that long.
I think it was because Gemma was her personal assistant, and she was thinking, man, this reveal got me too, thinking that she was sort of rekindling that friendship, and then was going to ask her to be her employee again, which is like probably not the best way to treat your best friend. But I mean, honestly, a lot of people do it and figure it out. It would be difficult to figure it out. But if you can figure it out, That's great.
But there would be someone in the interim. They would not leave that position open that long, especially someone who has like dealt with substance abuse. You watched around the clock, mama.
Paige, just from a Todd's lazy standpoint, if I could afford a personal assistant, I would have one. Like, it's got to be so nice to be like, oh man, listen, I got to be on this conference call, but it would be great if you would run to Starbucks and get me a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich and some shaken espresso, please.
Look, can you just shuttle me to where I need to be while I'm on various phone calls? Thank you so much. And just make sure I always have a cold Diet Coke. Great. Well, that's like we'll talk about it as we go through, because there's like a couple things I was like, As a famous person, no.
Yeah, that's fair. One final question before we get into it, Paige. How much do you think Voss Water paid to be in this movie?
Ooh.
They are all over this movie. Everyone's drinking Voss Water. And guys, listen, don't. It might kill you. I don't know. But we see a few people drinking Voss, and a few of those people end up dead in this movie.
I mean, it is the water of famous people. I have a controversial statement. I believe that they used Voss water because it's glass.
Okay.
And they needed to shatter something. But she's not drinking, and soda cans are cans.
Right.
And unless she had like Mexican Cokes that are all in glass bottles, what else are you going to have in a glass bottle to shatter? Famous people water, Voss water.
I also feel a little bit bad for the actress because she had to chug full Voss bottles of water
Full
at the
bottles of water.
beginning or end of long takes. I hope she only had to do this 1 or 2 times because you can only drink so much water, and that's a lot to chug.
She knocking them back, though. She was doing a good job at it.
She unhinged her jaw at one point. It was crazy.
I mean, here's what I will say. If you ever go to like an influencer's house or like...
An influencer page? I would never.
Would never. Or like a famous person's office or like a hotel room, Voss water is always the water there. If you go to their offices, like a production office, it's always Fiji water, unless they're trying to appear environmentally conscious, then it's box water.
Box water, baby.
It's the water that comes in the boxes.
That's why they say it on the box.
Yep.
Paige, maybe we should just get into this movie scene by scene, because there's a lot of them.
We do. I promise not to scream for at least another hour. How about that?
We'll see.
We open with the guy from the last movie, who was the cop, in the car out front of some sort of house. We don't really know what's going on.
It's a stash house, Paige.
It's a stash house, but it's 6 days later from the end of the last movie, where essentially the demon tricked him into witnessing the other lady self-immolating.
Yeah, which we see very briefly as he walks up on the guy. He's staking out, maybe is what I'll say at this point.
Right. Well, and I think the plan was that he would set up a gang shootout so that he could basically infect this dude, and then that dude would die, and that would end the chain. Now, here's the other thing. With the first movie, the mythology wasn't that you had to die. It was if you killed someone, it stopped the chain. But it wasn't super clear, and that didn't, because that's what they found out from the guy in the prison last time.
I mean, in this one, it is you have to die before it kills you.
You have to die before it kills you.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he was trying to set up here, is that he goes in, he kills that guy's brother, he's about to kill himself and shoots him. And I think in the process figured he would maybe get shot in the leg or whatever. Maybe he'd bleed out. Who knows?
Right.
But he has to witness before he passes. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen. That guy dies before he unfortunately takes his life. But who does witness? A guy in the back.
But this whole scene is nuts because he stops this guy at a car, grabs him while he's getting coffee or whatever, and runs him inside and is talking to the guy on the couch with his gun on the back of the dude's head. And then he stabs this guy all over. And by that, I mean, he enters somewhere and then drags his hand all around.
Yes.
And then pulls it out wherever. It's so graphic and gross. And then in that process, he gets shot by the guy on the couch, who I think was the dude he just killed's brother. And then he sort of return fires and kills that guy. But you're right. The plan was to keep the guy on the couch alive to witness. And then once it goes to him, either kill him or maybe the other dudes were a rival gang showing up to kill the guy on the couch, which would also end it, right?
Right. Regardless, he goes outside because he's trying to get away from the other guy who happened to have been in the house. This is Lewis, who we will see later.
Yeah.
Because he knows time is up. It's going to happen. He's going to die. It's going to kill him. And if Lewis sees it, it passes it on. But then he gets just pancaked by Truxecutioner.
Yeah.
Therefore, infecting Lewis.
Yeah. It's gross. And the way it shows that as it slows, but it slowly reveals the crime scene, or not crime scene, but accident, I suppose. And then it flips it and it's the smile of Smile 2. I was like, oh shit, that's fun. Well done, guys.
I mean, he didn't intentionally walk in front of the car.
No. That's why I said it was an accident.
Yeah, but that should have ended it.
No. Why would it have ended it?
Because the demon didn't kill him. The car did.
Yeah, the demon's not in him. The demon's in Lewis. That's the reason Lewis was there.
Well, but it doesn't pass until he dies.
I think it was already in Lewis. I think the reason he was apologizing to Lewis before he ran out of there was because Lewis saw it and survived. He saw the murder and survived, not the guy on the couch. So it was already in Lewis by the time Lewis is revealed in the room. It could never be in the cop who came in.
It was in the cop who came in.
Well, okay, yeah, but he passed it along to whoever witnessed the murder, right?
But no, not who witnesses the murder. You have to witness his suicide.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess Lewis could have seen that from like the patio or the porch.
Even if he did, or I guess maybe that was the thing from the first movie. Maybe that's what I'm misunderstanding from the first one, where if you kill someone and someone witnesses the killing, you allow it to jump to somebody else, but you're done.
Yeah, maybe.
That must be it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But either way, like that's what happens in this movie because it does go to Lewis. Like we see what happens with the story. So like we know that.
Right.
But yeah, because it does, it is a true accident when the truck hits him.
Yeah. Because in the last movie, the guy that they talk to that tells them about the killing loophole is that he's in prison. He's serving life for killing somebody.
Yeah.
But it allows it to jump him, which is a weird, if you're thinking about this from a metaphor point of view, is also a weird loophole. But
it's just like The Ring.
Yeah, where you have to copy a tape.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to put others in danger to save yourself is what it is.
Right.
But I mean, I could sort of see how you could fit that into an addiction metaphor, but I think it works just for the ring of it all.
Yeah, I think it's, anyway, he gets hit, he's pancaked by that car.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we cut to the Drew Barrymore show where she's interviewing Sky Riley, who is our pop star that we're going to be following.
And man, when they introduced this whole storyline, I was like, oh shit, was she in the first movie? And I was like, oh God, maybe I just forget too much of that movie. And then I realized that from this point on, it's pretty much just new characters until Lewis.
Which
I loved.
Me too. I don't hate that.
Me too. I loved it.
I feel like more horror sequels should do that.
Yeah. But it just in the moment, I was like, oh God, I don't think any of them were a pop star in the last one. I think I would have remembered that.
She's new. But we kind of get a little bit of a montage of her day where she does this interview. It goes really well.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing rehearsal because she's got a big tour coming up. She does a turn and she hurts her lower back, which is clearly one of the places where she had to have surgery from the accident.
Which they talk about in the interview we just watched.
Right.
That was one of the things they do throughout that montage of her day.
Right. And all I got to say is a year after an accident that required that many surgeries, too soon to go on tour, mama.
Which it is. That's why she's in pain, right?
100%.
But also, I 100% believe her mom or record company, her own company would be maybe not forcing her, but really strongly suggesting hey, maybe it's time you get back out there, right? Because we've got bills to pay, lady, and we count on you to make that happen. I really kind of like that they do show the pressure that she's under.
Yeah, 100%. And to a degree, it's the Britney Spears of it all. Of
oh yeah,
everyone living off of a woman who needs a fucking break.
Yeah.
And is not getting it,
Who needs to go on vacation for a year? Leave her alone. But she can sign your very large paycheck every week if you just keep her on the road.
Right.
So your friends and family even are incentivized to keep you in this loop of never-ending work. It is a terrible way to live, man. And you can sort of see artists go through that as they get successful. And man, if they make it through that and survive it, there's so much less work on the other side, but you just feel like they're a much better human afterwards. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's the people who work nonstop for 20 years. I would be scared to see in a bar because there's no way Tom Cruise is not going to stab me,
Oh, Tom Cruise has been out to lunch for years.
Yeah.
But there's a point in this movie where her mom is tell me if you're using, it's okay, I'll keep it a secret.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh.
Yes. But here's the deal.
Dark.
Is that a conversation she actually has? Or is that a projection of how she feels about her and her mother's relationship? And we don't know because the movie is an unreliable narrator movie, which is a problem. But
yeah,
I really enjoyed the movie, but like I left me with those questions, right?
Well, and it's a problem because that and other conversations really serve what happens in the third act.
Yeah.
And then the third act turns around and is like, oh, none of that happened.
I know.
And so you're like, oh, what?
And if you're like a story circle nerd like you, Paige, you're like, oh, you can't do this is terrible. And if you're like me and dumb and you're like, oh, no, what? This is gonna be insane. So like, yeah, I get why they did it.
It's just me swearing at my TV.
It's like you and Joseph Campbell just put your head in your hands.
Swearing.
Everyone else stood up and clapped.
I honestly, because I did not have time to do much else other than watch this like right after work.
Same.
I'm gonna go dig into some reviews after just to see if anyone else is as angry as I am. Gotta be one. Anyway, so everyone is she does this dance move, she hurts her back.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we could take a break. And she says no. But that no is born out of we have to stay on schedule.
Yeah, it's born out of all these people are depending on me.
Yep.
From the dancers to that choreographer to my family to like everyone who's in set, like everyone who's lighting, all the camera people, like so many people rely on her.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's an insane amount of pressure.
You know what? I'm going to save this thought and talk about it in a couple scenes.
Pin it.
We'll talk about it in just a sec. But she goes to the bathroom and tries to take 2 pills that she has in an Altoids container. That's how we know they were not prescribed. She got them through nefarious means.
It was 2, and then she shook it a little bit, revealing a 3rd, which I was like, ooh, this box contains mysteries. And then someone like knocks on the door, startles her, and she drops it, and her last 3, maybe 2 and 1 ghost pill, go down the drain.
Yeah. So at that point, she gets into the car and she's like cold sweating.
Yeah.
She's not doing good. And here's the thing. I'm sure she's in an unspeakable amount of pain.
Yeah.
Back surgery is no fucking joke. Like rehab for that is no joke. And the amount of dancing and physical exertion that it requires to just walk around as a famous person, let alone do all those dances and fittings and everything, I bet she is hurting so bad.
On top of it just being a super long day.
Yes.
Like she was working from like 6 a.m. until whatever time this is, and it's dark outside. So it's like she should have been done a while ago. If you're only going to work like regular 9 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
You know, she's working like 12-hour days at least.
I started work at 6:30 this morning, and I will be between my 3 different jobs at work until 1 a.m. tomorrow.
I know. We're damaged people, and I don't know why we do it to ourselves.
Because people are counting on us to.
Yeah. I do get something out of it. Like, I love it on some level. I really do.
Well, and that's what we'll talk about when we get to my other point in just a second.
Oh, you mean that like maybe we use it as an addiction and maybe that relationship is a little more two-sided than one-sided?
No, that's not always what I was going to say. Because we can't get into this because we will talk about it forever. I don't get the same validation from this as you do.
I know.
This is something that we differ in.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway. So she can't get pills, so she texts somebody, and they're like, yeah, come on over. Which, here's the thing. Any good drug dealer in a major metropolis is going to have Vicodin. They just are, right?
I mean, he does have it. I'll be honest with you, like, when you meet Lewis, this is really the first time we've met him under normal circumstances, because the first time he had just witnessed a murder.
Right.
So, like, this is him, in my mind, normal. I've met a lot of drug dealers who act erratic and strange. And also, when you're like, I'm just going to go, they're like, nah, man, let's talk.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is just like Lewis on a normal day.
Yeah, because essentially, like, she gets dropped off at her hotel, which, again, the fact that no one else is with her and they just let her go alone through a hotel lobby, insane. But anyway, she immediately comes back out, gets in a taxi, goes to her drug dealer's house. And he opens the door. We will find out that he's just a dude she knew from high school that she knows sells drugs, but he's acting full like that dude that Boogie Nights is based on, which if you have not listened to the last podcast on the left episodes about, I forget what they are called, but it's a series of murders with that guy with a huge dick. John?
Wait, did John Hamm kill people?
No, hold on.
You said a John with a huge dick.
I know.
Why do you think they call him ham, Paige?
Holmes. John Holmes.
What? Is it really Holmes that I'm talking shit about John? It's so close to ham.
I know.
It's so close to ham.
But he got deep into drugs and there was like a whole...
You had to say got deep? You had to say got deep into drugs.
Deep.
Yeah.
There was a whole thing. But the episodes on last podcast that cover the murders and the drug dealer they were dealing with, who was a wild card, definitely worth a listen. Pretty fun.
Believe it or not, all the ad-libs of John Holmes, voiced by the voice actor, it's Henry Zabrowski, honestly. I was going to say John Hamm, but it's Henry. He's very funny, though.
John Hamm's got a great voice.
He does.
Anyway, so she goes into the apartment and he immediately pins her against the wall with a samurai sword and is like, why the fuck are you here? Because he thinks she's the smile monster.
Right. It also is like, okay, Lewis is on something, but he's a drug dealer, so like, is that par for the course? Maybe.
Yeah, probably. But she's like, what are you talking about? I texted you. And he's like, I don't remember sending these texts, which does set up some of the unreliable narrator of it all. I do think it potentially sets up the idea that Morris was never real.
It definitely sets up that premise.
Yeah.
Although, in my mind, we're experiencing a very reliable narrator up to this point.
Right.
Because the trauma has not happened yet.
Right.
And we're not witnessing it from Lewis's perspective.
Right.
Lewis is the one who's saying, I don't remember sending that text message, because Lewis doesn't remember. We're remembering it because our narrator does remember it. Did I say narrator or is it narrator? It's narrator. I get made fun of a lot for saying narrator, and guys, I'm trying to fix it. Narrator. Is that how you do it? Narrator.
I don't know. Do people make fun of me for the way I say it? I don't know.
How do you say it?
Narrator?
God.
Unreliable narrator?
Unreliable narrator. I'm really in my head about it, Paige, I'm going to be honest with you. But
anyway,
I think it sets up that Lewis is experiencing it, not that our main character, Sky, is.
Right.
Yet, obviously, she does.
Right. So he's like, make yourself at home, get some Vicodin, hang out, I'll go grab it for you. And she kind of parks herself on the couch near a pile of cocaine. A pile.
I thought it was actually ketamine. I don't know. It's a lot of a powdery substance. I'll tell you that.
He does say, I've got some coke, but then if you want other stuff, I've got good Molly and I've got Vicodin.
Yeah, he offers her a bunch of shit, honestly. Although the way he gets out of the room is to be like, I got to go get the Vicodin. It's in the other room.
Yeah. So he leaves. And she sits there, doesn't do the coke, is just kind of sitting.
Yeah, she's just chilling.
But he's gone for a long time.
Yeah, man. When she goes and like walks over there to, I think that's his bedroom, although we don't really go into it, so I don't know. But that's the vibe, right? She walks over to like the doorway of his bedroom, and then he comes out screaming. Like Paige, like jumped out of my body. This movie scared the shit out of me. And then when he gets a little bit further into the room, what I'm going to call the gym part of the room. And he picks up a 35-pound weight and then smashes his head with it like 8 times.
He looks at the ceiling. He looks above her and she's like, I'm not seeing what you're seeing, man. What's going on?
You're right.
And then he appears to OD.
Yes.
She thinks that he's ODing.
Yes.
Which, by the way, if you're going to deal drugs, keep some Narcan on you. But like...
He probably had some around the house.
And she just didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
But so... she is like, oh my God. And she's about to call because she thinks he's OD'd. And then the smile happens and he sits back up. And that's when he goes and smashes the weight. Now, the first smash, makeup not quite there. It's a little too pink. It looks like a fake nose. It's not great. But then the next ones, they layer over it and it looks better. But he beats himself to death. And then she barfs, which my first thought was like, nah, girl, DNA.
I love that she Googled that. I wrote that in my notes too. I was like, that's the kind of bitch I am. I would like literally when I get home, is there DNA in vomit on Google?
When watching it, I was like, this was for me. This was because somebody in the notes process was like, DNA. Like they would test it as soon as they found his body. And so they put in the Google, is there DNA in vomit? Which I would say there's probably enough saliva in it that most of the time, I would say your vomit's got your DNA in it.
I would have loved it if like Morris was a cop who was just like also happened to be affected by this. If like in the text message back and forth, he's like, I know this is Sky. And she's like, how do you know? Because there's DNA in vomit, bitch. Like that would have been such a funny like text back and forth after setting it up
funny.
in the Google of it all. But like, anyway, it would have made me laugh.
Anyway, so we cut to, she races back to her apartment. She's just like, she doesn't call 911 because she's like, what's going to happen if they find me here with all the drugs and everything? I'm not supposed to be here. This is bad.
Yeah. Which is like so sad because like that's like her high school friend.
It is.
They probably weren't super close, but they were kind of buddies, you know?
Yeah.
And she just watched her buddy traumatically kill himself and then realized that she really couldn't call the cops because it would make her life a shit show. And there's no way it wouldn't look bad for her. And that's just so sad.
I do think she could have called anonymously after leaving, but her fingerprints and shit gonna be everywhere.
Yeah, I think that the reason it gets passed to her, this is a little, I'm reading into this too much, but I think the reason it passed to her was because she could have dialed 911 and didn't. And that's when the smile happens. Because she had already decided she's not going to call 911. She's not going to tell the truth. She's not going to reveal what's actually happening with her. She's going to stay hidden and try and beat this thing herself, which is what addicts do.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, I'm going to chase this dragon one last time, and then I'm kicking it. And then they do that the next time, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you can be vulnerable and talk to somebody and get help, your chances of survival go up significantly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we cut to her the next day. She's exhausted. She's pounding water. And her mom is basically like, hey, and we will find out why the water thing is happening later. But
she is chugging it.
She's chugging it. Her mom is like, hey, why don't you call your friend and see if she'd be willing to come back? And she's like, no, I can't. And we will see those text messages from her later. But they go to meet with the head of the label, Darius. And Darius does something I fucking hate.
And what is that?
Which is to say to someone, hey, I know you're super busy, but I need you to do this extra thing for me. And I already promised people you would do it.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say when like someone who's like kind of powerful walks into a room and like your mom's assistant tries to hug him and they give him the Heisman, like they like totally ignore his attempt at a hug. Like I felt really bad for Joshua in this scene.
Oh, sure. No, for me, it's something that people do to performers, I think almost more than anybody else. I'm sure other famous people too, but it's this idea of like, yeah, you'll be on, you'll show up, you'll do the thing. And it's like, it's emotionally exhausting. And you already know that they're on a time crunch and you already know this is a struggle and you already know that they have had a struggle with substance abuse. And then you're going to be surprised when it don't go well. Like, you pushed them, man.
Her tour starts in 6 days.
Yeah, no, she shouldn't be doing fucking anything for you. And it was nonsense. They could have called anybody. He could have done it him fucking self.
Paige, that guy's from the record label, right?
Yeah.
She's already doing a shitload for that guy.
Yeah.
Like, she's going on tour for him in 6 days.
Yeah.
And also for herself, I get that. But, like, he's going to make a shitload of money. Although, I see this shit happen all the time. Not necessarily to me, but, like, because of the town we live in, and I have some very good friends that are really high up at some very, like, prestigious country labels, and they do this shit to those people all the time.
Hate it.
And I love them, but yeah, I get why that would be super annoying.
And I hate it on every level, from, like, small to super famous. Like, boy, do I hate it. If I show up for a gig somewhere and I've only got a certain amount of time in a city and you're like, hey, I need you to take 2 hours to come talk to me and my friend that you don't know. Like, how about nah?
Right.
You know, it's different if I'm like, hey, I know you. I want to see you. Let's hang out. But like, if I didn't plan it, don't put it on my schedule. Just because I have to guard my time and my sanity.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she does Google if vomit has DNA right in these scenes. But as she's getting ready in her dressing room, she hears like a slurp. Yeah.
The slurp happens anytime she is like so stressed out, like she needs, the squelching sound is like it's a manifestation of her craving her addiction, like sonically. Like we're hearing that because it's always in those moments where she would, I think, normally be using.
Yeah, it could absolutely be that. That definitely, I thought it was the sound. Once we see what happened in the accident, I think it's a sound from the accident.
I think it might be, yeah.
Or the sound of that dude's face sloughing off. Oof. So it's like the trauma sound.
Yeah.
And that could still be the addiction metaphor, but like that's the sound. But as she looks in the mirror, his head is like behind her, almost like he's following her. He's the like person on her back, if you will.
Yeah, like the addiction maybe.
Yep, And she screams and her, mom, assistant, whatever, bust in and they're like, well, we were knocking and you weren't answering. So again, setting up that unreliable narrator, which in small doses, great. Whole act, no. But she is in this like very fancy outfit, but reveals that the lights will show off the scar on her stomach, and she isn't ready to do that yet.
Yeah, she's not ready to reveal who she truly is to the world.
Yep.
It's all about vulnerability, guys.
Again, the first 2 acts of this movie are really good.
I know. It's so good.
Anyway, so we cut to her doing a signing with her fans the next day. And I do love that this displays most fans are, even when they're putting a lot of emotional stuff on you, it's a fine interaction. We're happy to hug people or whatever. And then it gets creepy.
Well, I mean, I think both of those creepy things are like manifestations of the demon.
So here's something I really liked that this movie did, but I don't think they're both. I think the little girl is.
Little girl definitely is.
Little girl definitely is. I think Alfredo was just the reality of her life. And that her life is stressful enough. And this kind of shit happens to her all the time.
I mean, yeah, that definitely could be. And we just see him later because he was a character that she would be scared of.
Right.
Yeah. And is the demon in that moment, but wasn't here.
Right. And a huge part of it that I think plays into the way the whole rest of the world treats her, which is basically like a meal ticket, is there is even a level of depersonalization that happens with your fans because you are an entertainment source that they consume. And so if you're not available for that consumption, it becomes more pressure on you. And I feel like that's what she sees in this moment of she is just a thing to be consumed. She only even gets 20, 30 seconds to recover from someone invading her personal space and threatening her, which is what happens to her, you know? And so I feel like he's the fake out, the little girl's the real one, but he's the real thing that happens. Like the guy who tried to assault Ariana Grande, or even the dude that assaulted Taylor Swift in a very similar scenario. And yet, if she did not do those events, she'd be considered a bitch. Like she's not doing enough, even though it is literally putting her in physical danger.
Yeah.
Pressure, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, she does sign stuff for that guy. He gets way too close, way too creepy. They have to pull him off. She composes herself for a second, but then she comes out and there's a little girl who is definitely the smile demon.
Yeah.
So we cut to, she is already kind of pulling her hair out, which like, I know that I think also goes to the addiction of it because that's something that,
not everyone does that, but that's a way to cope. Yeah. It's like a control thing.
Yeah.
Some people, it manifests differently. Some people scratch until they bleed.
Yep.
It's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it is that sort of coping mechanism.
Yeah. So she calls Gemma and leaves a voicemail that's like, hey, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm really overwhelmed and I would love to just have a friend. I don't really have anyone to talk to. And I know I treated you badly, but I would love to rekindle this. And then Gemma appears to call her right back. And in my notes right here, I just have, is it her? So I called it crazy early, apparently.
You did. I did not. But I did love that this movie kind of proves to you that like, hey, if someone calls and says they're like from your bank, be like, all right, cool, let me call you right back. Because that would have solved it.
Right. Well, and there are very few people in my life that I would not accept an apology from, but there's at least one. And so like the text that we see from her, that is not a relationship I would want to rekindle. And I think the message that we get from Gemma later on is actually a much more reasonable response as opposed to this of like, ride or die, girl. Like, ain't no big thing. Like, clearly some shit happened.
No, but you know what will ride or die with you? Your addiction.
Yeah. It will die.
That's why it works so well.
I mean,
I know you don't like that the whole third act is an unreliable story, but man, it works for the like narrative of it all.
I mean, it would if they did not bait and switch us.
I mean, yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, I get it.
Because like every story point that happens up to that point does work. You're right. But then to just like, just kidding, none of that happened. Like, no. Anyway, she's like, hey, I'll come over right now. Don't worry about it.
Give me 45.
Give me 45.
Yeah.
And she's like, cool. She sits down to maybe write a song, to journal, and she hears the glass water bottle break.
Okay, can I just say before we jump into all this very scary next sequence, her sitting down and like playing her own song on piano and like singing it for herself, I was like, I don't think artists do that because they have to sing this song so much.
Sure.
All the time that they wouldn't necessarily sit down and play their own song. Like, I guess I'm just saying, like, if I was walking down London late Friday night or something, I'm not going to hear a fucking Elton John playing Benny and the Jets to himself. You know what I'm saying?
I think in my mind, it was a song that she was writing and had not finished.
Okay, yeah.
And it wasn't one that we see. Like that's how I read it, as her being like, okay, I'm going to sit down.
Then I would absolutely forgive it because I get like, you're like, damn it, I'm going through some shit. But this verse I'm thinking out is like, I got to get it down. I got to get it on paper because it's great.
I think it might have also been this thing of like, it's been a really rough day. I need to reconnect with why I'm coming back to do this at all.
Yeah.
You know?
I could definitely see that in the scene.
Right.
And the actress is like amazing.
She does a great job. Yeah.
I don't even see her as anything other than Sky. Like she is just this like amazing Lady Gaga-esque pop star. She's crushing it.
And honest, the original music in this, not bad.
No, it's great.
I was kind of in for it.
Yeah.
But so after she goes to investigate the water bottle, she's going to sweep it up. And as she does, she sees the shirt that she signed for Alfredo.
Yeah.
And then all of his other clothes as if he is naked in her closet, essentially.
Oh, man. And when it reveals the clothes page and it just like really shows you them dirty uns.
Ew.
And then it like lingers and like tilts the camera down to like better reveal the shit stain.
Ew.
I was like, oh, man. And this, I'll say this. The cinematographer in this is great.
Oh, yeah.
And this shot is effective. But it is the same idea that he did, or they did, I don't know who they are, but they did when they were showing the Drew show, like Apology at the very beginning.
Yes.
It is this like establishing shot that you're comfortable with, and then it pushes so far in that it like passes through the camera lens that we thought we were watching the scene through, and then it like pushes it on her face just for the actual apology.
Mm-hmm.
The scene we're in right now is like the reverse of that because it pushes in on those dirty undies like this is about to get weird. And then it like pans back up to him and then her at the other end of the hallway like frozen in fear. And man, it is a good 15 seconds of nothing.
Yeah.
Just them standing there. And then he sprints towards her.
Yeah.
And it is fucking terrifying, guys.
Yeah.
I like came out of my skin. I lost it. Oh man, it was scary.
Well, and she goes running, gets to the front door, and who should be there but Gemma? And no one else is behind her.
Paige.
No one else is there.
The reason it's no longer behind her is because it's Gemma.
Is because it's in front of her.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's Gemma. Yeah.
The poetry in your answer was way better than my reveal of that it was being Gemma.
Yeah.
But let me just say this. The way they like transition from the pounding steps of his feet.
Yes.
And make it seem like it was Gemma just pounding on the door.
Pounding on the door.
Fuck. It makes you feel like, oh, thank God Gemma is here. We're safe.
Yes.
Because, oh, the pounding on the floor was just her knocking. Okay, we're safe. We're safe again. And then for it to be revealed 20, 30 minutes later, that's the demon.
By the way, it's an hour later.
It could be an hour later, yeah. But like so much later that is actually the demon. Fuck. I want to go back and watch this movie again to pick up moments like that. But I also will never watch this movie again.
Yeah,
because it was terrifying and there were moments that made me sob.
Well, that was so. Essentially, Gemma's there and she's like, what's happening? And Sky turns, the water's not broken.
She like reveals the things that led her into that delusion she just had.
Right.
And she was like, oh, I'm not in that delusion anymore.
Right.
This is real life.
Well, and according to Gemma, she's lost an hour.
Right.
But now that we know that Gemma's the demon, she may not have.
I mean, it was lighter outside when she was on the phone with, quote, Gemma, which again was actually the demon, so we know that didn't matter. But it's now night outside. Like, I could see it being 45 minutes. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Who cares? Anyway, she and Gemma have this conversation. Gemma decides to stay over with her. And as they're kind of laying in bed, Sky wakes up from a nightmare where we see basically the accident, or part of the accident at least.
We see her waking up post-accident, which, man, Paige, we realize may not have been fully an accident.
We will find out later, yeah.
And this scene made me sob.
Oh, yeah.
I was so, just because, like, this is what it was like.
Sure.
You're, like, in this traumatic event, you sort of, like, she wakes up, or you just, like, realize, okay, I'm not dead. So, like, let's assess. Let's see what's going on.
Right.
And you kind of look around and, like, the worst has happened.
Right.
So you just start screaming for help. It's so sad. And the actress is fucking crushing it. It's so sad, guys. I was upstairs watching this movie and like we have like a den upstairs. It's like I can make it dark up there. And that's what the listeners want me to watch, the scary ones in dark. So I try my best to do that. And this one broke me. But like this scene, I was like upstairs sobbing to myself. Natalie downstairs like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just a good movie.
Well, and here's the thing. Up to this point, yeah, it is. And I do love the reveal of, for as traumatic as it was watching Lewis, I feel like the accident is her real trauma. Like, that's the thing that she's really carrying.
That is her real trauma.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. I think that is her real trauma. I think Lewis triggered her, quote, and I'm going to say relapse because I feel like that's what it is in the metaphor. But I think in the movie, she never takes drugs again.
She doesn't. Yeah. No.
Have you ever sautéed your kitchen experiments like the eerie expressions in Smile 2? Now, imagine using olive oil that rivals a suspenseful plot twist. Meet Graza, a single-origin olive oil coming straight from Spain's Picual olives. Their sizzle oil cooks at a robust 410 degrees Fahrenheit, making it your everyday companion for sautéing or marinating. Or use their drizzle oil to add a bold finish, as vibrant as your favorite horror movie climax. Head to graza.co and use EVO for 10% off the trio set, including sizzle, frizzle, and drizzle.
Hyundai understands the countless challenges drivers face on today's roads. Distracted pedestrians, red light runners, and unexpected obstacles make safety more important than ever. With over 120 IIHS Top Safety Awards since 2006, Hyundai delivers industry-leading protection in every vehicle. The available blind spot view monitor shows you a real-time video feed of your blind spots, while the standard forward collision avoidance assist works like a vigilant co-pilot, ready to brake when you need it most. And when fatigue sets in, the standard driver attention warning system keeps tabs on your focus, ensuring you stay alert when it matters. Because at Hyundai, your safety isn't just a feature, it's their first priority. Learn more about Hyundai at HyundaiUSA.com. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details. Hyundai vehicles have won over 120 IIHS Top Safety Awards from 2006 to 2024 as of December 2024.
But she kind of wakes up and is like, oh God, I'm so sorry if I woke you up, but like my brain is a real fucked up place right now. Yeah. And I want to quiet the noise, but I don't really know how. And that's probably why she was using in the past.
Definitely was. Yeah.
Gemma just says, oh, that's because you're a horrible person, which is definitely her subconscious because that's how the demon works.
Oh, yeah. And Gemma's not even really there.
And she just says, what did you say? And then Gemma smiles and we get like a headlight jump scare nightmare with the honk and everything.
I literally that scared me too, like a lot. It scares me a lot.
Sure. And so she gets up and Gemma's like, oh, hey, I made matcha. Like, good morning. This is the most unbelievable part of the movie to me, is that she's like, oh my God, I'm up. I'm so late. Nah, girl. People would have keys to your house and they would be waking you up.
Yeah, if you had to be there at 8:30, your mom would have been at your apartment wondering why you weren't ready at 7.
Or 6, or yeah.
Yeah, like she would be there. And I say your mom just because her mother is her manager. Like whoever is managing her would have made sure she was awake.
Yeah. And like at that level of fame, someone is literally in charge of getting you to where you need to go on time. Period. That's their whole job. And so absolutely that person would have at minimum been knocking on her door and then given her history with substance abuse. If she did not answer, they would have definitely opened that door.
The fact that she doesn't have security in this movie is nuts.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Bonkers that she doesn't have a bodyguard.
But you can't have security, right? Because if you had Kevin Costner trying to chase down this demon, and he's got 6 days to either make you fall in love with him or kill your smile demon.
I would
God, I wish Kevin Costner was brave to do a movie like that.
Sorry.
So good.
Having a bodyguard moment.
I know.
Anyway, her mom gets there and is like, why the fuck are you not dressed? Like, you're going to be late. Now, something to notice, and I did notice this on the first watch through, her mom does not address Gemma.
She doesn't. But Gemma does say, Hey, what's up, Kimberly?
She says, hey, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is her name. Hey, Elizabeth.
Whatever her name is. I thought it was like weird. If she was your daughter's best friend, she might be like, oh, hey, Mrs. Whoever, Mrs. Sky's mom. Because she probably met Sky's mom when she was a full-ass kid. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe that's not the part that was weird to me. The part that was weird to me was that 2 scenes ago, her mom was saying you should call Gemma. And then to find Gemma there should have made her happy because she was trying to get her to do it.
Oh, to be like, oh my God, you're here.
Oh, thank goodness you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like her mom was trying to get her to do that because Gemma would then be with her all the time. And maybe that would at least keep her somewhat stable.
Yeah.
So for her to not be like, oh, thank good you called Gemma. Nope, nothing. So we cut through stretches, voice warm-ups, and then they're shooting a music video, and it looks awesome. It goes on too long. This movie is 30 minutes too long, and you could absolutely cut music videos and dance montages and make it a 90-minute movie, but they look so cool that I don't really want you to. Like,
I thought it was dope. I loved it.
I'll live with it.
It would be hard for me to want you to cut this scene.
Yeah.
Because I think it does a really good job of setting up who the people are in her fucking closet when she went in there with her toothbrush.
Yeah.
All of that, because those are the dancers, she's afraid, are all mad at her.
Yes.
Because of her being late, and then, of course, what happens in this scene, because she kind of causes a scene. But I kind of liked it. And it's just atmospherically, it's cool because you're like watching this like stage production with no audience because they're there sort of rehearsing and whatever. But like, it's cool to see.
This is what sold me on it being a fully fleshed out script about a pop star that they then just Command F smile onto was this sequence.
Yeah.
Because this in and of itself is so good on its own that I was like, this had to have just been like a cool horror movie about a pop star, but then no. Anyway, so she sees the smile face and then suddenly seems to fall and hurt her leg in the same way it got hurt in the accident.
Yeah, she literally sees it break like it was broken in the accident, which it showed us in the flashback that made me sob.
Yep. But we pull back and everything's fine. So she has to justify why she just created a scene. She kind of blames everybody and stomps off to her dressing room where I think she'll stew for a second and then come back out and be like, okay, fine.
Well, that's what they think she'll do.
Right.
But on the way to her dressing room, she sees Joshua smiling at her, which we know is the demon. So that's not really Joshua. That's just him or the demon possessing, like making it look that way to her. But she walks into an already destroyed green room, like her dressing room, more or less.
Yes.
And so she thinks that like Joshua did it, but everyone knows she's the one that did it.
Right, right.
So she's behaving like a crazy person.
Like a crazy pop star.
Because her mom comes in and is like, what is happening? Like,
well, her mom comes in and goes,
yes.
This is where she says, I don't care what happened, we'll fix it.
Right. And if you're using again, just tell me and I'll keep it a secret.
Right, right.
But you have to tell me. And that comes about because Sky is like, hey, I didn't do this. You have to believe me. Joshua did this. I saw him leave the room. And her mom is like, listen, I've been with him all day. I know it could not have been him.
Right.
So like, you've got to tell me right now. That's how she gets into it, right? And I do believe Sky has not taken anything. So she is like, no, I haven't.
Sure.
I know it looks like I'm going crazy, but I'm not.
Anyway, her mom then says crazy stuff that definitely people say to famous people, that's like, we'll look at the calendar and find a couple days for you to decompress before the tour. And then we'll do this. And it's like, it's this thing of like, I'm still going to make you do too much, but I'm going to find a way to make you feel better about doing too much.
Yeah. She literally says like a day.
A day.
We'll find a day.
A day.
Guys, that's not like, we'll find you like a Monday or a Friday so we can pull a 3-day weekend. It is like, we'll find you a day.
We'll find you 8 hours.
I need 2 days. I need 2 days a week to like decompress.
Yeah.
Like she's not even getting a day every 7 days. Like that's crazy.
Nope. She is texting Gemma. She's not getting any replies, but then she gets an unknown text that's like, hey, were you at this guy's apartment?
Yeah, were you at Lewis's apartment?
Yeah.
Shortly before he killed himself, which we know he didn't really kill himself. We know it was the demon, but yeah.
Yeah. But we cut to, she goes to that event and she does beg to be let out of the event. She's like, I'm not in a good headspace. Please let me not do it.
Yeah.
Whatever. And her mom is like, no, you're going. So she goes and the teleprompter breaks, or does it? It's the demon.
For sure.
But she basically does a speech that actually starts out as pretty good, but then gets a little dark. And then she's like, oh, the teleprompter's back on. And thank you, of course, to Paul Hudson, who was the guy who died in the car crash with her.
Yeah.
And he is then at the event smiling, walks up on stage, she screams, and then she backs into an old lady and knocks her through a table.
As Miss Sky's attorney, I think we'll have to check the tape page because that old lady comes out of nowhere and puts her hand on my client. My client had no other... She had to protect herself. And so, yeah, she might have roll tossed her into the audience from a 6-foot stage.
Look.
And yeah, the lady might have broken every bone in her 80-year-old body. But she shouldn't have rolled up on my client like that.
Hey, surprise requires a finisher.
I thought it was insane that she gutter chucked this old lady into a table. Like it was like hell in a cell. I was like, hell yeah, that is nuts. Because think about it. Like you're in the audience watching this lady who has been through a lot, sure, but kind of have a verbal meltdown on stage.
Yeah.
And then toss a geriatric lady into the audience.
Right.
Oh, there's no way you're not going viral, and not in a bad way. You're definitely going to blow up on TikTok after that.
Immediately. And we do cut to her whole team being yelled at.
Yeah.
And she's kind of holed up in her apartment.
Yeah.
And she's trying to basically reckon with what happened to her. So she gets another text from that unknown number that's like, hey, you're in serious danger. What you're seeing is real. I can help you meet. You're not imagining things. Lewis posted this 4 days ago.
Yeah.
And it's basically the video of when he goes back in the bedroom while she's in the apartment.
Yeah.
And there is, I assume, a jump scare here because I just typed out Jesus Christ and I don't remember what happened.
Oh yeah, it was a very big jump scare.
Okay.
I crawled out of my skin.
Yep.
It's just watching the video really draws you in because she's watching it on her phone. So you're leaning forward a little bit.
Right.
It's just super scary. The whole movie's super scary.
Anyway, he drops a pin at a public place. She goes to meet him at that bar that he dropped a pin at. Her mom is calling. She is ignoring it.
Yes. Literal, help is calling her and she's ignoring it. The metaphor is all over this movie and I dug it. And I really hope that this scene is the only actual scene that Morris is in because I like this type of character in this type of movie. Just like the guy who's on the outside, we don't really see a lot because he's on the outside trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And we might get one scene with him every movie, he's just trying to chase this down to avenge his brother. And then maybe in Smile 12, he finally figures it out.
Well, because I don't remember him in the first one at all.
Oh, he's not there. No, he's not there. I want him to be in every subsequent Smile is my point.
I don't think he's real.
I know.
The more we talk about it, the more I think he's completely fake.
I know. It makes me sad. I don't know that he's real either, but I really want this character. I like it. I like it as a premise.
I feel like he exists to trick her into the place where the demon can basically put her in front of that huge audience.
Oh, 100%. That is how he's used in the third act for sure.
Yeah. But he basically is like, look, if you stop your heart and technically die and it jumps and then we bring you back, you'd be free of it and no one else would die.
Right. A lot of people think that near-death experiences can give you powers, and maybe this is one of them.
I mean, DMT is one of those chemicals that's released in your brain when you're dying, so maybe.
Well, I don't think it gives you superpowers though, Paige. It doesn't make you
No, but clarity. Some people believe it brings clarity.
Oh, perspective?
Yeah.
It might bring you perspective, sure.
Yeah, most people think it's mostly just a cool, fun colored room, but whatever. Anyway.
Never done it. Don't know.
She ignores her mom calling.
Yeah.
She gets back. She's like, I can't do this. I don't believe you. I gotta go. She gets home and tries to pack. And I think she's just going to run and hunker down.
Yeah, she's trying to run away from her problems, Paige.
Yep.
100%. That's this stage of the movie and the stage of the addiction she's in.
Yep. And this is where she's going through all her stuff. All she can find is Tylenol. She kind of hurts her back as she does it. She takes that vibrating toothbrush and she's going to maybe help her back a bit. But
as she goes into the closet to do whatever she was going to do to help her back, it's revealed that there's I don't know, maybe like 12 dancers. It's a lot.
I loved this sequence though,
Me
because
too.
this is one of the first times that we've seen the demon work in a group like that. And the way that they like are in the doorways and like as a group where it's kind of like a cluster and then they spread out. I thought this was really literally through this point. I'm like, this movie's still fucking great. I'm here for it.
Because they are sort of like moving as one, and it's like...
Yeah, it's creepy.
It is very choreographed, which like, it's a bunch of dancers doing it. Like, it looks great because they are literally able to just cast legit great dancers. And it makes sense in the story because it's her dancers. The reason they're there is because she's afraid they're all mad at her.
Right.
And that's what she's spinning on in this moment that is making her want to use.
Right. And again, the metaphor and everything intact at this point. This is still a good movie at this point.
It's amazing.
We even, as they kind of attack her, she gets the flashback to the car accident. And it does go on way too long. This scene could be trimmed in half and be just as effective.
This is the fight that leads to the accident?
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Yeah.
But this reveal is that she, and maybe wasn't in her best mental state because we see her use right before she does this.
Right.
But she grabs the wheel and causes the accident.
Right.
So she's like not just dealing with survivor's guilt that you thought she was dealing with. She's also dealing with the fact that she murdered her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And can't tell anybody that. Or she'll go to jail forever.
Or rather, she took the action that caused his death. I don't think there was premeditation the way murder requires.
Manslaughter, murder 2, murder 3, whatever. I understand what you're saying, and maybe murder is a harsh word to use in this context, but she did...
She caused her boyfriend's death.
Yes. I would struggle with that so much. Like, I struggled so much with just the survivor's guilt of it all, and I wasn't driving the truck that we were in. I was in the bed of the truck. I had nothing to do with it, you know? Like,
yeah.
And I still struggle. If I had caused it,
Well, and she got away with it because no one could tell from what had happened that she caused it because he was under the influence.
Yeah.
She was under the influence. So no harm, no foul, technically. She is, other than going through intense physical pain of having to go through the surgeries and everything for her, she has not necessarily gotten any punishment for essentially causing his death.
None from the state, at least.
Yeah, none from the state.
Yeah.
Just from inside. A lot of internal punishment.
Yeah, she's paid a lot internally for that mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she wakes up with her mom in a private clinic. And this is where her mom is like, hey, we found you passed out.
No, her mom tells her the cover story.
Yeah, that she fainted.
Her mom tells her the lie that they're telling the media.
Right.
Although she does mention that she was dehydrated, which is our first clue that pretty much every scene that starts with her chugging water is not really happening.
Right. Well, and she did establish that the water was what she was supposed to do anytime she wanted to use to drink water instead.
Right.
And we've seen her guzzling water this whole time.
Which is why, this brings me to my theory page. Is the demon just like a tapeworm for water?
Ooh. I mean, I feel like all the signs are there. Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
It feeds off your negativity and the water you drink, Paige.
And I mean, if you dip below 70%, this bus will blow up. But yeah, her mom does give her the cover story, but talks to her as if like, you're not having trouble. You're going to rest today. You have today to rest.
Yeah.
And then we're back for the tour and whatever.
Sort of like, we heard you.
Yes.
We get it. Enough with your fits already.
Right.
You can have 8 hours off, I guess.
Yes.
Gah. Like, that's the way her mother speaks to her. And it's kind of sad. Like, it made me sad that their relationship was this way. Because it does feel like her mom, underneath it all, loves her.
Sure.
But over all of that is, like, that's her paycheck. And she really wants her paycheck to keep being her paycheck.
Well, and I think to a secondary degree as well, I think she needs Sky's paycheck to keep being Sky's paycheck. Because I think her mom also knows that this won't last forever, which is a harsh reality, but true.
Absolutely.
Anyway, but her mom is like, hey, her mom, for lack of a better term, is like, hey, you selfish little bitch.
Yeah.
A lot of other people make money off of you, so you will get up and fucking dance. And you're just like, oh my God. Oh, geez. All right. And she just says, hey, I can't perform. Like, I am in a bad mental state. I'm tapping out, basically. Like, I am admitting that I can't do everything. I can't do it all. I need help. I wish you could get a look at what is inside my head. And her mom, of course, is the smile monster.
Yeah.
And is like, I know what's inside, punches the mirror, stabs herself. And this results in Skye like trying to rip herself out of her IV and run. But as she runs for the door, she realizes that she has the shard in her hand, implying that even though she doesn't remember it, she killed her own mother in a fit of rage.
Yeah, man, I hated this moment so much. I was so glad that in, I guess, the very end when she takes her own life or the demon kills her more or less, like it shows the mom is actually still alive. So like all of this is a hallucination.
Yeah, I did. I was like, oh, good, the mom is alive.
I know, because like, I mean, even though you know in that moment that she's about to take her own life, or really the demon's about to win is what that is. But like, you're like, oh God, okay, good. She didn't actually kill her own mother. Great.
A mother who she seems to love, like despite their differences.
Yes, there does seem to be some genuine love there. Yeah, and I think her mom sort of shows that too. I just think it's clear that her mom is motivated by money in this moment.
In that moment, she's the smile monster, not even her mom. So like,
right.
You know. So she grabs the sweatshirt to cover her bloody scrubs. She sends Joshua away to go get a soda. She makes it downstairs. She's trying to make it for the exit, but Joshua notices her and is like, oh my God, is that blood? Are you okay? They surround her. She calls the security guard over, steals his gun, and uses it to run outside, where she conveniently runs into Gemma.
Yeah. And Gemma's like, one of your mom's cars dropped me off. And they're like, great. And she like runs over and like steps on glass and is like hobbling over to the car, and they sort of carjack that car, and Gemma gets in. And I love that she was like, no, you can't come with me. And Gemma was like, you can't drive.
Yeah.
And so she was like, all right, fine. So she runs over and gets in the passenger, or actually climbs over and gets in the passenger seat. Gemma gets in and starts driving. And then I think something so like, and I'm going to say it, beautiful happens, Paige. And I love that it was like a creepy reveal when it happened. And I'll tell you what it is. They're like running down the street more or less in this like escalator, whatever it is. And they're talking about like, you're going to be in so much trouble, Gemma. Like if you stay in this car, you're in so much trouble. And then Skye stops and she's like, stop the car and get out. She's like, you have to get away from me because I destroy everything in my life. You have to get away from me. Please. I'm bad news, more or less. And then that's when Gemma actually calls her. Like in the first moment, possibly ever in Gemma's life, that Skye has seen her as someone other than a tool to be used is when Gemma calls her on the phone and is ready to reconnect with her. It's just sad that in that moment is when it's revealed that like the Gemma we thought we knew is not Gemma at all.
I would be a lot more impressed with it if the almost identical scene had not happened in the first movie.
I know. But it works. It's like really effective.
Literally, the second she got in the car with Gemma, I was like, it's not Gemma. This is just like the first movie where this exact same thing happened. And I was like, are we just recycling scenes now? Because this is where it starts to go downhill for me.
That's fair. Yeah.
But I do agree that like
it's beautiful.
In that moment, now I kind of was rooting for Gemma to be there and be like, we're going to beat this together. And that I think would have been really great. And I would have loved that.
I thought that would have been a cool twist on the first movie, right? And then like through that vulnerability with a friend, you can come out of it or like whatever, seek treatment, whatever it is.
Yeah, right. But no, it's literally almost an identical scene from the first movie.
Yeah.
Revealing. Now the reveal that I did like, because Gemma's driving, I believe if memory serves in the first movie, the person who turns out to be the smile demon is in the passenger seat. But that means that Skye wakes up driving, which is fucking terrifying. That's so scary.
And I do love that she was like trying to get to Long Island and it was going to take like 40 minutes. And so like when she wakes up in Long Island. I kind of wanted her to be like
Staten Island. She was in Staten Island. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted it to be like, oh, thank God. It just blacked out the whole trip.
Oh, good. Yeah. Missed all that traffic.
I mean, who knows if she missed it? She blacked it out.
Who knows?
It's like Severance, but just for driving, Paige.
Oh my God.
It's Uber Severance. Are you sick of being stuck in traffic 2 hours a day in LA?
Yeah.
What's the company that does the severance procedure?
Lumen, but I wouldn't trust them to dig into my brain.
Call Lumen Autos.
Oh, dark days. Well, I mean, I gotta wait till you get further so we can have in-depth discussions about...
Further, Paige, I've seen the first episode. I want to watch more. I really enjoy it. I just haven't had time.
Anyway, she pulls up to a defunct Pizza Hut, but she doesn't have enough books to get a personal pan pizza. So all she's going to get is murder.
All she's going to get is frozen.
But this is where she meets up with Morris, and he's like, hey, okay, this is the only place that had a freezer. And at this point, I'm like, how are you going to do this in a Pizza Hut? What? And then the freezer is like the size of an apartment. And I was like, no. But his explanation is like, if I can lower your body temperature, I have 9 minutes for your brain to kind of get rid of this thing and then shock you back.
Can I tell you what I thought in a second?
Mm-hmm.
I thought when he sets up I'll just call it Chekhov's broken doorknob of the freezer, I was like, oh, all this 9-minute crap is just bullshit. He's just going to lock her in the freezer until she dies. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of smart if you're Morris. It's dark, but kind of smart from his perspective. But that's not what's happening.
That's not what's happening. I had a terrifying thought of what if he just turned out to be a crazy fan?
Oh,
and none of this was real.
Oh.
And he just kidnapped her. And I was like, oh no.
You sort of like gaslit her into kidnapping herself.
Yeah, essentially.
But that's not what it is.
That's not what it is.
It's the demon.
It's the demon. And while she's in the freezer, she feels droplets on her stomach and looks up, and it's her hanging in the car seat upside down, which I thought was a great visual. Again, at this point, I'm still in it. I'm still like, okay, it was weird that it's a Pizza Hut, but like, all right.
But yeah, like it's an iconic like style building, so it definitely was a Pizza Hut.
It definitely was a Pizza Hut. It's weird that we recycled a scene from the first movie, but okay, like cool. And then she unbuckles her, she falls, and she basically has a fight with herself.
Yeah, she has a mirror match battle.
Mirror match battle, which in the first one, they had something similar, but not quite the same. I felt like from a metaphor standpoint, the mirror match makes more sense here.
I think it does.
Because she is fighting part of herself that hates herself in a way. Like she is fighting the guilt, the trauma, the self-worth, the feelings of inadequacy, the feelings of being overwhelmed. Like that's what she's truly fighting. And to have it represented as the her that was in the accident, perfect.
I think it's representing the her that was in the accident because that is the source of the trauma. Like all of those other things, because she is under immense stress and all of that stuff, like those are like coming out sideways because of this unresolved sort of trauma. And it goes deeper than the accident. Yeah. Which is revealed by the movie showing she kind of caused the accident. So it's not the accident. It is her behavior that she is now legit afraid of. Yes. That caused that accident. Right. And man, it's great. This, like, up to this point of the movie, it is like so good. Right. And made me cry so much. When she injects herself and the other self fades away, I was like, okay. And then I expected her to like shock back, and that was the end of the movie. The injecting herself, by the way, is what Morris set up as like the thing that was going to kill her before he brought her back, right? Right. And so he left the room and got locked in there with herself. Right. And so she had to do it herself. And it's like, it's a beautifully done scene because she's like about to die. And then it like, because it's trying to like spread her mouth with her thumbs. Right. And then it bites her own thumbs off. I was like, hell yes, fight it and like come back stronger because of it. Right. And she fights it and it still gets her in the end. And it makes me sad. Yeah, because essentially she fades back in. The girl's like, oh, you didn't think it that easy. Like, get in this weird closet. She goes in the closet. Oh, man. It turns out to be the stage. It's the cocoon from her show. It's the cocoon. As she's coming out as a butterfly, guys. Yes. Like, the show is like tailor-made to show that you can beat this thing and come out the other side. Yes. Perhaps better. Right, right. And for some reason, Zoom decided that you needed fireworks for that, and I applaud it. I am very animated when I talk about this stuff. But like, it comes out, and then it's like the opposite of that happens. It's so sad. Right, because she sees the smile demon. And can I say it? I've been wanting to say it all episode. Can I say it? Can I say it? Please. Bitch, you got too many teeth in your mouth. Dude, when that thing comes out, fuck, that is gross. I hated so much of this movie. But I will admit, it's an amazing movie. But it's so scary. Up until this point, because she then bludgeons herself to death with the microphone. But we don't see it, Paige. We don't see it. Which I like, because instead of seeing it, you see it in the faces of 13-year-old girls who were there to watch her perform. Right. And we're just seeing their horrified faces as she, I think, hits her one eye until the microphone goes in her eye socket and kills her.
Yep.
And then because it shows a close-up of her microphone in her eye. It's gross.
Yep.
And that's the murder.
movie.
So, Paige, having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what'd you think about Smile 2?
It's great for roughly an hour and 50 minutes.
Man, that's like almost all of the movie. I think the movie is like an hour 55, 2 hours, like right around there.
It's 2 hours and 7 minutes long.
Okay, fair. Okay, so but that's still like most of the movie.
It's most of the movie.
You're like, man, most of this movie, like 98% is so good. That's what Paige just said.
Yeah, I've been saying it the whole time, but that 2%, man, bad apple spoiling the whole bunch.
I mean, that's kind of how I feel about other movies that shall not be named, Ruddy or not. But I loved this movie. It is really good. I think a lot of it is because of my job and also just like personality, I deal with like survivor's guilt and I work in like the addiction space a lot. So like I go to a lot of meetings and you hear a lot of people sharing and a lot of their stories are not as like on as grandiose a scale as this, but like they're as dark as this, you know? It's just like none of them are pop stars, you know? They were all like an executive who just like couldn't handle the stress and super got into cocaine or something and blew up their life. Mm-hmm. So it's just like watching that and a heightened version of that, sure, because she's a pop star and sure, because it's like metaphysical, demon, haunting, whatever. But it's like addictions and recovery's language and like vibe is all over this movie. And that like really makes me like it. But man, is it scary and does it trigger my specific car accident, losing a loved one trauma? But I tried not to talk about it a lot. But man, the scene where she realizes she's still alive and realizes that she led to the death of her boyfriend. I had a very similar moment when I ran back to the truck and pulled my brother out of the car and we laid on the pavement until people showed up.
Turn the brother counter again.
It's like just so sad. It's just so sad.
Yes.
Anyway, you should watch this movie. I get why people love it. I hope to never watch it again. But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Smile 2, fun facts. So I think it's really funny that in an interview they said they wanted this movie to be different from the first one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did.
I guess swing and a miss, but it's still a great movie.
I think what they ultimately did in their eyes to make it different was to give it a whole different look and vibe, which it absolutely does have. Like, it's not your typical horror fare. It's not your typical horror locations. It's shot very slick and polished. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
The line, "This is going to ruin the tour," was actually a joke that was said on set that they wrote into the script because this was happening right around the time that this is going to ruin the tour. Which tour? The world tour with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, JT.
I know. Sky Riley is specifically modeled after Lady Gaga, who has been very open about mental health struggles and any number of things.
Yeah.
But if you look in the contacts of her phone, there is also Adele, Beyonce, Doja Cat, and Lady Gaga in the phone contacts. Gaga is right above Gemma, which I think is really funny.
I don't think Lord Gaga gets enough credit for all his work at the textile factories.
I mean, then he should make some more glittery shit.
Sorry, I love that SNL sketch. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Google Lord Gaga. They did it when she was a guest star and he came on Weekend Update.
Wait, this week? Like this time or one of the other times?
I think it may have been last season.
Oh, okay. Because she was just on like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I mean, they might have done it again, honestly. And maybe it was because I saw it recently on YouTube.
All right.
But man, it made me laugh. It's just like this like 18th century lord who like is oblivious to his wife being a huge pop star.
I have totally seen this.
It's so funny to me. And then the end of it where he's like making fun of Colin Quinn about
it's Colin Jost.
Yeah, not Colin Quinn. Like, how embarrassing would it be if your wife made more money than you? Because his wife is Scarlett Johansson. It's so funny.
Yes, I did see that because of Scarlett Johansson.
Shit made me laugh.
So Kyle Gallner, who plays Joel in the beginning, who's the cop, he's the only actor to reprise his role in from the first film. However, in early days when they were looking at a sequel, they thought about making him the lead, but ultimately decided to go in a completely different direction and follow somebody else on the chain. And I do think that's a great idea. I did really like it.
I really like it for a few reasons. And also, like, largely because if this took place in sort of the same universe as the last one, it would feel so much like the last one, you know? It would just be the last one.
Yes,
So they had to heighten everything, and I love the way they got to that. But I do like the way they incorporated him in it.
Right.
It's not like this is at random that it happened to this lady. It's like a definable chain.
Right.
And I really like that. And the actor crushes it. Like, he's in it for 3 minutes, and his cold open is one of the most compelling cold opens in a scary movie I've seen in a long time.
Incredible. So the writer-director Parker Finn cast Ray Nicholson as Paul, her dead boyfriend, as an homage to his father Jack Nicholson's role in The Shining. So hence the smile, hence his suit looks like the suit that Jack has in the photo at the end of The Shining.
Yeah, it is that like 4-button suit. It's a real weird looking suit, but he is great.
Yeah, and he does have that creepy face. So
that is just his face. Yeah.
Yep. Naomi Scott co-wrote several of the songs with producer Alexis Ida Rose Kesselman. So Naomi Scott is the lead actress and performer.
Yes.
She also performed all the songs and learned all the choreography. Incredible performance. Super great.
I mean, she is a singer. Like, she is a songwriter singer.
And she does an incredible job.
She was also in like Disney's Jasmine and Charlie's Angels and stuff. So she's done like she's done musicals, I guess is my point. Like, she can actually sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they did release most of the songs from this movie under the name Sky Riley, basically, as like in-universe songs, which I think is really fun.
That is cool.
They also had verified Instagram and TikTok pages to basically hype her up as a pop star, which I do actually think is really, really fun. I love when marketing teams do stuff like that.
Yeah, that is fun.
Now, the room where she prepares herself for a shoot is partially inspired by the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks. It's hard to notice at first because it has a neutral color palette, but there's a shot alone of her in the room looking in the mirror, and there's a monochromatic zigzag patterned floor, and the walls are wholly curtained. So very, very slight, but it is pretty interesting. I'll end on this one because I thought that this was really interesting. The writer and director worked with surgeons to create accurate scars on Sky's body, basing it on what victims in severe car accidents might receive. The scar on her torso is called an exploratory laparotomy, which is used to examine the internal organs for any damage.
Yeah.
And those are your fun facts.
I have one on my elbow. It's not that kind of a scar, but it's the kind of scar you get from car accidents. Because that's where I landed.
Ooh, she has one on her knee that's a smile, and then the one on her back. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for those fun facts page. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So what do you think the production budget was for Smile 2 in 2024?
I think this was probably about $45 million.
So yeah, it was actually $28 million, which I thought was a pretty good budget. Like, it looks great. There's a lot of crazy great locations and crazy big locations. Like, I thought they did a good job with that budget. Now, this movie came out October 18th, 2024. It's like the best time for a movie like this to come out. And it was number 1 that weekend. It beat other movies that weekend, such as the second place movie, The Wild Rabbit. Number 3 was Terrifier 3. Number 4 was Beetlejuice. And number 5 was We Live in a Time. But what do you think Smile 2 brought in its opening weekend?
Opening weekend, this was pretty big. I'm going to say this brought in 30 its opening weekend.
Yeah, you're close. It was $23 million. It was in theaters for a total of 8 weeks, though. And like, Paige, in its second week, it was number 2 at the box office. In its third week, it was number 3. In its fourth week, it was number 5. But still, like, it was in the top 5 for its first month of release. Like, that's great. It definitely made its money back. What do you think it made domestically, though, in its full 8-week run?
Ooh, full 8-week run domestically, and it made 23 its first weekend. I'm going to say it probably made around 70 over 8 weeks.
Paige, you're so close. It was $69 million domestically, but get this.
Nice.
Paige, get ready to say it again, because it made $69 million internationally.
Nice.
Double noise. So yeah, it brought in $138 million, which is really great on a $23 million return. I don't know that they are, but they are for sure planning a Smile 3.
Probably.
That involves just like a stadium's full of 13-year-old girls trying to kill themselves in front of people publicly.
Yikes.
It's going to be terrifying. We'll see. We'll see what it is, Paige. But that's your box office. Do you want to hit us with that scary scale?
Sure. Our scary scale is a scale of 1 to 10 on how scary we found the movie today, with 1 being Ghostbusters and 10 being Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Todd.
I'm going to give this an 8.
Yikes. All right.
I was very scared by it. And maybe that it does have to do with the fact that I was upstairs and I had blackout curtains and it was just like me in the dark with this movie. But it really scared me.
I'm going to give this one a 3.
Fair, yeah.
It does have some great jump scares in it, but that's not really the thing that really gets to me. So
those really get to me.
Yeah, it's a 3.
Yeah. That's fair. That is fair.
And that's your scary scale.
All right. Well, this week, Paige, you made us watch Smile 2. What are you going to make us watch next week? As we continue, is it sequel month?
It's sequel month. We're watching A Quiet Place 2.
That's right. I can't believe we're just now getting to the second Quiet Place movie. But that is your homework, is to hunker down and listen. I guess watch more than listen.
Because it's quiet. Because it's a quiet place.
A Quiet Place 2. And then check back for that episode.
And Todd, do you have any reviews for us?
I do. This week, it's going to be a Spotify comment from our most recent Night of the Comet episode. And I'm going to read this comment from, and it's just a bunch of letters, but it's CJLAC. And they say, no, Paige, the currency of the apocalypse is not the blade. The currency of the apocalypse is bacons.
Oh, well.
Lots and lots of bacons.
We're eventually going to run out of pigs, though.
Well, we'll have to figure out a way to bacon, I guess, human meat. But we'll figure it out.
All right.
Actually, it'll probably be you and Mikey who figure it out.
Yep.
Just so we can solve the global warming crisis.
Yeah, of course.
But CJLAC, thank you so much for that comment. And if you want to have me read your Spotify comment or 5-star Apple review, leave us one of those things and I'll do just that. So guys, if you like this show but want to hear Paige and I talk about romantic comedies or just regular romantic movies, check out our other podcast. Some might call it a sister podcast called Romancing the Pod, where we do just that weekly. It's a lot like this show, but for romance and romantic comedies, because Paige doesn't like them. So we make her watch them, just like you guys make me watch horror over here. But if you want to follow me, I am at Todd J. Awesome on all the social media. Paige is at Rampage Wesley on Instagram?
Yes, and TikTok.
And just Paige Wesley on Twitter, because you got that before some CEO lady and she wanted it, but you wouldn't give it back, and I respect you for that.
Refuse.
Also, Paige
Suck it, other Paige Wesley.
Paige is also on another podcast. It's great. You should check it out. It's called Cult Podcast with Armando Torres, who is a wonderful person. And if you want to support this show, go to Patreon at patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where there are a lot of great levels and a lot of great things. We do the Patreon shout outs at the beginning of every episode. We do listener requests, stuff like that, bonus episodes. So you'll be getting all of that content, plus episodes a day early with no ads, and who doesn't love that? So sign up for the Patreon and get a lot of great stuff.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it ooky spooky.
Yeah, have an amazing week, guys. Bye! I legit sobbed during this movie, nerds!